Hello everybody, hope everybody's doing great today. Appreciate those of you who watch this video. I hope you enjoy it. Also appreciate those of you who have subscribed. Thank you for subscribing. Hopefully you've been enjoying the reviews, the movies I've been talking about. And please feel free to leave some comments below. Interested in hearing your thoughts about this movie and see what your point of view of it is. So let's get into today's topic of Superman, the first one with Christopher Reeves. It's been such a long time that I've actually seen this movie that I kind of forgot what the movie was about. Not what it was about, but I just forgot like the whole movie. The only thing I really remembered was the ending, and I think it's because I really hate the ending of this movie very much. So when I was watching it, it was like a brand new movie to me. So let's get into this. What I really did like was the beginning when they show the shots there in Krypton. I really like how they did the Kryptonians' clothing. I read on IMDb like how they did it. I'm not really going to explain it to you, but it was really interesting how they was able to get their clothing lighted up. It's one thing I really did. I guess I could say appreciate about movies that were made before CGI was how creative and how creative these people did. That the movie makers were in creating these special effects. It was very I'm gonna say very engineering, but I guess you could say it was very engineering, very inventive on how they were able to create a lot of the phenomenons that they created on the screen. And the Kryptonians' clothing, I would have to say, was very well done, and they did it very good. And I read how they did it, and I guess it was very sensitive, because they couldn't really touch the clothing, or it would make like the light of it be dim and stuff. So I really appreciate the time and effort they did make those Kryptonians' clothing really stick out and pop out on screen. Very well done. One thing I guess I didn't really realize, I don't know, I've already seen a lot of Superman movies and shows, but like Kryptonians, or Krypton was like very cold, right? I mean, it looks like they're living like on an iceberg. I guess that kind of makes sense since, Superman put his fortress up there in the Arctic. I always thought he put up there in the Arctic because, nobody lives in the Arctic. I guess that'd be one reason, but it kind of also seems to fit like the climate of his home planet. You look at it, it looks like they're living on a big glacier. So it kind of makes sense, right? So I did appreciate the special effects. I think they're kind of course, they're outdated, but I do think they're still passable in our day and age. It kind of reminds me of like when you see some special effects on like TV shows, that's kind of like what they would pass for and are in 2024. Mouthful for me for some reason. But, they're still very passable. As a kid watching this, I really did believe like they did a great job of showing Superman flying around. It really did look realistic. Back then, it was kind of hit or miss when they showed people, special effects. Sometimes they could be like barely poorly done. Like you could really tell they were fake. For me though, watching this back in the 80s, it looked very realistic. Now, you can kind of tell maybe because like the veil has been released from my eyes, and I kind of know how to do some movie making, because you see the behind the scenes stuff, you can't really see it sticking out how they did it. But I still think like it looks pretty good on screen, the flying around and stuff. But you kind of know that he's like flying in front of like a big blue screen or whatever, however they do it back then. But you can't tell like it's fake, but I still think it looks very realistic. Time I get to like Superman 4, which I'll be covering sometime, there are some scenes where you can actually see the strings on Superman, on Christopher Reeve when he's flying around, and Superman 4. I don't know. I didn't really notice it in Superman 1. I didn't really see any strings holding him up or anything like that. Rope, whatever, wire, whatever you want to call it. I didn't really see it, so they really did a really good job hiding that part. So let's get into the story. The whole idea that what I like is about Superman grew up in like Kansas, which is like the heartland of America, instead of like a big city like New York or Los Angeles. Is like when at least when I think of the United States, I don't know about you, when I think of the heartland, like Kansas or the Midwest, so that part of America, it's kind of like the soul of America. It's kind of like you get your traditional values, and you kind of see this as Superman. You know, he treats everybody with respect. They're farmers. You know, farmers are known for being hard workers, diligent. You know, they don't really get up or down. You know, they know that there's going to be good times and then there's going to be bad times, but they're able to stay with the path and, you know, stick with it during those times. You know, when times get tough, you want to be with somebody from the heartland of America because you know they're going to have the backbone to withstand trials and tribulations. And you kind of see this with Superman, with his core values. He's always nice. He's polite to everybody. Treats everybody, like I said, treats everybody kindly. Whatever it says, you know, hardworking. You know, that's kind of what you pictured the heartland of America. People from Kansas, you know, Nebraska, you know, that area. I would say from like, you know, the Midwestern states. That's kind of what that's what is like the soul of America. And it's like that today, you know, good old traditional values. So I think that's probably why, like, the original creators probably put Superman in Kansas, where he raised, because even back then, you know, that's kind of known as, like I said, the heartland of America. It's just kind of like its nickname. And then you got Lex Luthor, who's like a brainy guy. Gene Hackman does a very good job. I noticed on these superhero movies, these superhero movies, fantasy movies, but really the superhero movies, he's like the villain, is like the actor who plays the villain, so he's always like the best actor on screen. And that's what you get with Gene Hackman. I'm not saying Christopher Reeve is a bad Superman or a bad actor to me. He's probably one of the best, or if not the best Superman that's ever played that character. And I love the new one, Cavill. Oh, I can't pronounce his name. That's why I usually don't pronounce actors' names. But, you know, it's between Superman, but it's just between Christopher Reeves and the new guy who's playing him, you know, the Witcher and stuff. I'll screw up his name very badly, but you guys know, if you're a Superman fan, you know who he is. But I think Gene Hackman does a wonderful Lex Luthor, plays it very well. Then, of course, he has to have those two goofballs as his sidekicks, and, you know, for the comic relief. Because I guess back then, you know, the superheroes, you know, you couldn't be too serious. You got some serious subjects that they tackled, but you have to make them funny, comedic. Like prime example with like the superhero movies of the 80s and 90s, kind of think of Batman Returns, you know, with Danny DeVito. Batman Returns was very heavily criticized for being too dark and stuff like that. There I go with stuff like that. Anyways, so, you know, Lex Luthor trying to take over the world. He has to have some comic relief. He has these two numbskulls as his henchmen. And really, it's the henchmen that kind of ruins everything with with Gene Hackman's or Lex Luthor plans. I'll get to that here in a second. The show does have some Easter eggs. You know, you got in the comics, Superman always goes into the phone booth to change into his costume. We get that a little bit where there's some danger. Lois Lane's about to fall from a skyscraper. He's trying to run his change, and he runs into, there's a phone booth, but it's those phone booths. It's like kind of like on a pole. You don't go inside it. For those of you who might be younger, once upon a time, there were like these booths where you had to open the door and you walked in and you were basically like, yeah, you were in a booth. You know, you had four walls and a ceiling, and, you know, that's how you used the phone. And then gradually they got rid of those things, and he had like a phone booth on a pole, on a post, and you use it that way. So, you know, he's looking for a telephone booth to change into, runs into that. Instead, he goes into like the revolving doors that you would see at hotels and big buildings. The other kind of joke with Superman's powers is the underwear joke. You know, How many times you ever thought about that? Or that came up with Superman, you know, has X-ray vision, so of course he can see under people's clothes. So to kind of stop it out, like what color of underwear Lois Lane is wearing. I think she brings it up. She's the one that brings it up that, you know, what is she wearing underneath. And so you kind of got that kind of gag on there. Let's get those 2 Easter eggs, funny stuff. And then what I really liked about this is that in this one, you know, Superman uses his respect for everybody, his love for everybody, treating everybody well, and his strength and his superpowers to win the day. Because in reality, Lex Luthor gets the best of Superman. He actually defeats Superman. However, because of his, you know, his henchman woman, because he treats her so, treats her so bad, but he treats her badly. He has no respect for life. Lex Luthor has no respect for life, and he's wanting to destroy the city, which is, you know, the woman henchman that he has here, his sidekicks, I guess, has family living there, and she doesn't want her, I believe it's her grandma, to die. And she knows that Superman is a good person. He has high morals. He's going to save everybody. And because Lex Luthor has disregard for like life and disregard for those who is with him, hence his is a hitchwoman. I'm going to call her hitchwoman. I was going to use another word, but I can't pronounce it. Hitchwoman. She saves Superman, and then Superman goes and saves the day from everywhere. But the part I really hate this, and the part where I don't ever rewatch Superman 1, is that when to save Lois Lane, he flies on the reverse direction, makes the world spin backwards, which somehow is able to reverse time. I really hate that part. And that's why I never watched it, just because of the ending. I thought the ending was so ridiculous. Even as a kid, I hated that ending. And so I never really got into wanting to rewatch the movie. But having rewatched it, I think it was very well written, except for the ending. If the ending could have been better written, I probably would enjoy this. Probably would have been one of my favorite Superman movies. But because of the ending, I really dislike it. Might be one of my least favorite Superman movies. Having said that, I'll be reviewing Superman 2, which is my favorite Superman movies of all of them. Really enjoyed that one. So, I don't know. Because it's Christopher Reeves and the first Superman movie that been brought onto like the theaters and did really good. I would recommend this one. Like I said, the special effects and showing him flying around are really well done for the time period. Still passable for our period, for today's audiences. So it's on Amazon Prime. If you're a Superman fan, you gotta watch it. It's one of the better Superman movies, especially the parts in Krypton is excellent. Have a great day, and until the next video, bye.